The whole morning was spent with Yanzi helping Lu Xinru cut her hair. Lu Xinru felt as if her head was lighter, though she wasn't quite used to the feeling yet. After overcoming the black spot illness, her physical strength, athletic ability, balance, immunity, and recovery ability seemed to have increased significantly. Normally, one would feel weak after being ill, but Lu Xinru felt quite the opposite. After lunch, Big Bear took her to find Blood Knife. All the tree houses of the hunting team members were clustered together. After showing her Blood Knife's tree house, Big Bear left. Lu Xinru hesitated a bit, then lifted the animal skin curtain that served as a door. "Excuse me, is Blood Knife here?" There were no separate rooms in this kind of treehouse, allowing her to see Blood Knife sitting at the table eating. She frowned slightly, wondering if it was an illusion, but she thought she could smell a faint odor of blood when she stepped inside. "You came quickly. I thought you'd hesitate outside for a while. Come and sit here." Blood Knife motioned to a seat beside him. Lu Xinru sat down as he indicated. When she got close to the table, she realized the source of the smell. Blood Knife's lunch was entirely raw meat, with the acidic juice of fruits she had picked before poured over it. Though she wasn't seeing blood for the first time, the mix of bloody and acidic smells nearly made her vomit her lunch. Blood Knife seemed used to it, taking a bite of raw meat nonchalantly. "I almost forgot. If you can't handle it, you can stand further away." Lu Xinru shook her head. Once she suppressed the urge to vomit, she hesitated a bit but asked out of curiosity, "Why do you eat raw meat?" Blood Knife chewed the meat, shrugged, and said, "It's a side effect of the black spot illness. It gave me heightened senses but also altered my taste. Cooked food tastes bland to me, only raw meat is a delicacy." While speaking, his eyes changed, becoming like a beast's cold and predatory. Lu Xinru clenched her fists, suppressing a shiver. Should she feel lucky she didn't end up like Blood Knife, with altered taste making raw meat the only option? Could someone who only eats raw meat still be considered human? No wonder Blood Knife always had a sinister and terrifying aura. Despite his keen senses, Blood Knife noticed her clenched fists, his tone indifferent. "By the way, if you're so afraid of me, why didn't you ask the leader to find someone else to teach you?" "Yes, I'm a bit scared, but I trust the leader and Yanzi." Lu Xinru hesitated but decided to be honest. In just a few words, she had already somewhat figured out Blood Knife's temperament. He was straightforward and didn't care about others' opinions, so there was no need to be overly cautious in speaking to him, just saying what she thought was fine. In fact, if she could overlook his sinister aura, his straightforwardness was a trait she appreciated. Perhaps it was because Lu Xinru herself was the type to act on her thoughts. So, she didn't trust him but trusted the leader and Yanzi who chose him to teach her. Blood Knife didn't mind. After finishing his meal, he grimaced and downed half a cup of sweet tree juice. Sweet tree juice was what Lu Xinru drank when she first woke up. It tasted quite good, but judging by Blood Knife's expression, it probably didn't taste pleasant to him. Just as she was about to ask why he drank it if he disliked it, she realized the previous bloody smell seemed to have been replaced by a faint fresh scent, thanks to the juice. It was for rinsing his mouth. Lu Xinru was a bit surprised. She remembered that sweet tree juice was quite expensive in terms of points in the camp. Of course, as a hunting team member, Blood Knife could afford it for every meal. "Don't look at me like that. I don't mind, but the team leader forces me to drink it every time." Blood Knife shrugged. Lu Xinru was surprised that someone with his personality would follow Big Bear's orders. "All right, there are 4 days until the next hunt. I will teach you everything you need to know during these 4 days." Blood Knife stood up, and Lu Xinru followed suit. He looked her up and down. "First, have you tested the enhanced ability you gained after the black spot illness?" Lu Xinru nodded. "Yes, my leg strength has been enhanced, not surprising. Many people have this ability," Blood Knife said. After getting out of bed, Lu Xinru had insisted on a simple test with Yanzi. The test was straightforward, just to check which part of her ability had greatly improved. Surprisingly, the first thing she tested, her leg strength, was right on the mark. According to Yanzi, some enhancements after the black spot illness were rare, like the leader's ability to control the wind, unique to him. Conversely, enhanced arm and leg strength were the most common and practical. Enhanced leg strength not only greatly increased her kicking power, but also made her more agile. Her jumping and movement abilities improved significantly, increasing her chances of survival as a new hunting team member. There's no good or bad ability, as long as it's useful to oneself. Though Lu Xinrui admired the leader's ability and had high expectations for her own, she wasn't disappointed with the result. It wasn't something she could control anyway. Wishing for too much could get her killed faster, so she quickly adjusted her mindset. Blood Knife led her outside and pointed to a tall tree, asking her to climb to the top. Lu Xinrui understood this was to test her ability. She took a deep breath and, using her newly acquired leg strength, jumped straight past the lower branches to a height of over 5 meters. She then climbed to the top like a nimble monkey in less than half a minute and returned to the ground. The black spot illness had not only enhanced her leg strength but also improved her overall physical fitness and balance. Though the improvement wasn't as pronounced as her leg strength, performing stunts like Eagle Eye wasn't an issue, but she was still cautious and didn't dare to push herself too hard. Blood Knife's evaluation was, "Your judgment is terrible." Lu Xinrui looked at him, feeling slightly indignant. Blood Knife didn't explain further, only saying, "Watch," and began climbing the same tree. She quickly understood what he meant. The tree was several tens of meters tall, with countless branches strong enough to support a person, and many possible routes to the top. Blood Knife chose a different route than hers. His enhanced sense of perception didn't boost his physical abilities much, so he couldn't jump 5 meters high like Lu Xinrui. However, his route was clearly simpler and faster, reaching the top in just over 10 seconds. While it was uncertain if his route was the most efficient, compared to Lu Xinrui, who had to backtrack several times because the next branch was too far, Blood Knife's smooth ascent was undeniably faster. Coming down from the top, Blood Knife said, "Looks like your first lesson is judgment. Finding an efficient path while climbing is just one aspect. You need to identify prey's weaknesses and situations and adapt accordingly. Follow me." Blood Knife led her outside the camp, explaining the weaknesses of their prey and some judgment methods. "Most of the animals here are ones you've never seen, but that's okay. We're not zoologists. You don't need to know all the species, but you must determine if an animal poses a threat to you, in other words, whether it's herbivorous or carnivorous." Lu Xinrui followed behind him, listening intently. "How do you tell?" "For higher mammals, the simplest way is to look at their teeth." Blood Knife bared his teeth. "Carnivores have sharp canines, herbivores and omnivores do not. In this regard, omnivores with less sharp teeth are harder to judge. So, even if an animal lacks canines, don't let your guard down. If you can't check their teeth, look at their claws. Carnivores and omnivores both have sharp claws. We're here." Blood Knife had brought her to a riverside downstream from the previous celebration, a place littered with bones. Judging by the skeletons, these bones had belonged to large creatures, some still intact, others fragmented from long exposure to the elements. After each hunt, the support team skins and debones the animals, leaving the bones here. Our prey includes these big creatures. The hunting grounds aren't in the forest but on the plains beyond the northern forest. Herbivore meat is much better than carnivore meat. Frankly, hunting these herbivores isn't hard. The challenge is bringing them back. Bringing the prey back means crossing the northern forest, which is the territory of carnivores. Blood Knife's eyes gleamed. For us, hunting herbivores only requires a few traps. Drive them into the traps, and we're set. But for carnivores, hunting these thick-skinned, herd-living giants is difficult. Attacking us in the forest is much easier. During hunts, we rarely suffer losses. Most casualties occur on the way back from being ambushed.